desk in their discussion. The biggest thing for QWERTY here is looking at T sides and just
Yeah.
how little strats they're actually going to be able to employ on that T side. It's a very rough map if you don't bring a very intense game into it. And with how new this team is and with the discussion going on in the analyst test, they're saying they haven't really had a whole lot of practice. I don't expect them to bring anything too advanced, which gives Heroic a huge advantage in that respect.
Yeah, definitely. Also, the fact that Heroic has started their year in the new refresh headquarters, of course, where they're headed alongside Astralis. And I know Astralis has been practicing there, Heroic has been practicing there, so they have this environment where they can really thrive and really prepare themselves to the maximum ability that they can have. While QWERTY, they're still not picked up by an organization. They're still just doing events like Michael Ailey did the ROG thing. Like, obviously, you would want to practice with your team in that period, but he hasn't been able to do that. So definitely, this is pretty much a layup for Heroic. But strangest things has happened,
yeah,
as
absolutely.
Paul said.
I mean, there's always a chance to. Heroic is a really weird team for me in that, like, when they go to these events, it's almost like a coin flip in terms of which Heroic you end up seeing. So going back to like the monitor last time we casted together, it wasn't necessarily the best performance, but I mean, we'll talk more about that. We'll get to see which Heroic we see right now, guys. As it does look like we're getting into the map. It's going to be on Cobblestone, and we'll get immediately into the pistol round. Heroic on the CT side, QWERTY on the T side.
Let's see here, Michael Ailey, of course, the team captain and the AWP player. Not the team captain, that is Peter, of course, the in-game leader. But one of the main figures of this QWERTY lineup, as Dust said, the team is built around him. So he's going to be the player to watch for me to see what he will do. Start things off here with a drop play. It looks like from QWERTY.
A little bit slow on the start there. They're not rushing directly into the bomb site. However, that's a very fast control of drop. In fact, all of them are moving into it. They don't check the direction. We do see Adder grabbing the first kill, but there's the response. Madi grabs not only a response player, but he gets the bomb control too. And now he can just hang back at that angle. He's going to grab a second one. Now Slap's gone down. Peta, as we can see, is stuck in drop, making sure they don't get flanked through this doorway here. And finally move in to challenge in a second. Peta almost caught off guard. Madi stacks up another kill there. Finally, Makalele has responded, but Valdi's able to hold off outside of the drop room. Takes Peta down, and it's now all on Makalele in a 1v3.
Yeah, he's pretty much with 28 HP. There's not much he can do. He does collect one guy. Valdi goes down. So now it's a 1v2, but the bomb is still dropped in front of him. So it's going to be incredibly hard to do anything towards this situation. He can try his best here. There's still 40 seconds to go. So still hope. And he actually does snatch up the bomb with 1 HP. Michael Ailey will survive. Can he cross here? And he will get the bomb plant by this. So this is huge. That means that they can buy a case a round earlier than usual. So this is actually really, really good compared to how bad it looked 10, 15 seconds ago.
They're not going to be able to chase him onto the site. Unfortunately, it's a very quick end to it, though, as he does go to the wide peak directly after that. 1 HP with the wind will take him down. So no problems at all for the guys over here on Heroic to be able to defuse that. They will pick up the pistol, but as you mentioned, considering the circumstances leading up to that point in the round, it didn't even look like QWERTY were going to get the plant. So the fact that they, at the very least, escaped with that is still an overall victory for them.
Yeah, definitely. But also the strat they're running, this kind of like drop and quickly going onto the opposite bomb side, onto the bomb side, is the strat that I see a lot of teams, new teams run on Cobblestone, because it's so easy to implement and so it works really well against good teams as well. So not surprised to be seeing that, but usually you do it with a bit more speed. And of course, if you meet Modi with a USPS in that position and he just takes out 2 players, then it's really hard to kind of execute onto the A-bomb side.
So, as we pretty much predicted here, pretty heavy saves going into the second round from QWERTY as they are going to be looking to go for that third round bye. They've got a couple flashbangs, probably to try to force themselves out onto the B-bomb side and look for that second plant. Yeah. However, if they don't get it, it's still not the end of the world. They're still going to be able to afford the rifles, just going to be missing the bigger stacks utility. It's actually Madi, though, that gets hit with this flashbang completely, does not get a kill. He tosses that nade in, which does some good damage to players like Slap, but that's about it. Pretty much everybody else gets away scot-free, and now they're sneaking in, but once more, they're not going directly into the B-bomb site through the transition room. They're going out the window instead. Nico's managed to somehow burn Slap down. I think Madi coming in there with some assistance on the damage, but he's backed away from here too. So QWERTY, they do hold control of the connector this time instead of having to battle out for it like they did back in the last round there.
Yeah, I really like that they take this map control and then they just wait around to see if any of the CTs are playing a bit too wild and playing a bit too aggressive to see if they can push in and take that. So very confident, but also very very nice thought out play coming out from QWERTY here, but they do have this 1M4, and that's where the play is going to revolve around. What can Ada do with this M4? Can he make that entry into the bomb site? And he will. Nico goes down, and that could be the chance.
Valde, though, swinging out. He's going to be able to catch a trade, and also isolating himself from the players on Broken Wall. Dink, no doubt, down to 24 HP, and he's going to play a lot more cautiously, trying to ice out one more of these players, but it's not going to happen. Makalele takes him down, and that's the site clear. It took a while, but because of how early they made the other play, they still had time. They plant that bomb with 30 seconds on the clock. Still snappy, though. He's going to roll right in here, picks up one, looking for the second. He's going to grab it. All of a sudden, it's a 2v1 in the favor of the CTs, but oh no, Snappy, somehow he's not dead yet. He's able to chase down that third kill against Venton, and that's it. The T's are all gone, and Heroic are going to pick up this second round.
What a retake from Snappy, the in-game leader from Heroic, coming in and showing that he can also use that UMP 35 to get kills and get on the top of that scoreboard. So well played by Snappy, and that round will of course go to Heroic. Very close though, incredibly close to be honest. A bit too close for Heroic there. QWERTY very close to getting that. And as we've talked about, they got the bomb down. They have so much money compared to doing 2 straight ecos or buying Tech 9s or something like that. So they can afford that AWP, and that's what's very important. AWP for Michael.
Would have been able to escape, but just tying that up 1-1 though, and considering they were going to buy anyway, it would have given them the huge advantage there, and in fact they would have been able to beat out Heroic's economy right from the start. So it's been unfortunate they end up tossing that opportunity away, but they're going to get themselves right back on to thinking about the future now, as they focus on this round here with the utility along with the op, as you had just mentioned here. Monty though playing inside of the suicide steps along with Snappy. They are going to look to challenge this push from QWERTY, and it lines up perfectly. Snappy with the first one and a clean second one. Not only that, but Monty grabs one from just below against Pete, and that pretty much kills the hit. Makalele is able to respond by holding in this angle, but nobody else is going to test that. There's no reason to. They've got a 4-on-2 advantage. It's the guys on the T side that need to get aggressive now and make up for this. Nico swings in, but that's aggressive from the CT side, and that's exactly what they didn't need to do. Adder's going to grab that kill, and now it's even again into a 2v2, and in theory, QWERTY could go to either site, as they still have a minute on the clock.
Let's see, they're playing Freeze in the connect area, and then they're playing Valde on the back of the A bomb site. So going to the B bomb site is the correct call right now from QWERTY. And with Michael with the AWP, so he's able to challenge Freeze. That's actually going to be quite a good duel. 3 flashbangs on the T side, so they're going to use them to get into the bomb site and then save one for the post plant, I think. But Freeze also has a lot of utility to spare here as he's looking to take the duel.
Lining it up, basically not going to challenge any of them at all until they do swing out here. Now there's still that one flashbang which has been tossed out here now, and that baits him, and that pretty much isolates him, I should say, into the open. So Freeze will go down, nice clean execute that comes out there from QWERTY, and I get the 2v1. Valde though is going to waste no time moving back in himself. He spotted the one player crossing in a chicken coop, but he thought he'd go on a little bit further in. Now he's giving himself away. Swings out the flashbang, that was perfect. It blinds both of them. He's got free reign to move up as far as he wants to here. He does have to be careful that player in chicken coop, the possibility from the peek him. He's spotted again, 10 bullets left in the clip now. He'll be challenged from that right side. He can't seem to get it. There you go. Finally, a kill has been picked up, but now he's out of ammo in the M4, so he's got to use that pistol, and it won't play out. Makalele will switch to his own pistol and close out the round for QWERTY, allowing them to pull off a 2v4 turnaround on that situation.
That was a perfect rotate to that B bomb side, and also the way that they played it, they're throwing 2 flashbangs at the same time, so we're sure that the guy who was watching on that B bomb side, he was going to be flashed. Then they got that kill, and they saved one flashbang for the rotating other CT player coming in, and he got flashed as well. So very well played by QWERTY, very good push plan scenario from them as well. So I'm really impressed by this team, because this is a young team. We're early into the game, but they're showing good signs already.
Now, again, we go right back into the slower style of play from QWERTY here now. They are still moving very decisively, however, over here towards the long A, just like they did in the last round. Just going to take a few extra seconds to formulate it. Adder primarily sitting back over here in the B halls, making sure that nobody from Heroic gets too aggressive now, as they forced into this round as much as they can. It's primarily, though, just that one FAMAS sitting on Freeze and SMGs and upgraded pistols beyond that.
Yeah, Slap has also got some impressions to do here. This is one of his chances to showcase himself on this level. He's also, along with Adder, as I talked about on the desk, one of these players that hasn't really hit the bigger teams in Sweden. He was on the national team for the World Championships early in 2016 and didn't really showcase himself very good. So this is his chance as they push in.
However, it's been destroyed by Snappy. He's been an absolute monster with that SMG so far. 4 quick kills for the guys on Heroic, and now it's down to Adder, who was watching the flank a moment ago. On his first kill, he's gets dropped down to 8 HP, and the second player that peeks him, it's a pretty easy job to shut him down. So the quick response comes in from Heroic, and once again, they take back control of the map.
Yeah, that's really good for them, because that was a round where they invested 2 guys into UMP 45s. The economy was not looking good on that CT side. Even had a couple of pistols in there as well. So that is a round they really, really want to win. And now they forced QWERTY on this pistol round as well, while they're having the full setup with weapons. So that's really good from Heroic, looking towards a great start here on the CT side of Cobblestone.
So at least 4, I believe, out of the 7 kills that Snappy has now to have come from the SMG. Yeah. Maybe 1 or 2 extra too that we may have not caught on the camera. So far he's been dominating with that. It's forced QWERTY down. Rounds like this onto another just upgraded pistol around here. 1 Deagle, the rest mainly on Tech 9s, except for that CZ on PETA. They've got a little bit of utility to try to execute, but nothing too fantastic here. It's basically going to come down to if they can actually find those 1 or 2 kills really early on and take control. And if not, as long as Heroic don't get over aggressive, they should be able to shut this down pretty easily.
This is the same play as they did in the pistol round, basically.
Monty getting ready for that. He actually uses the whole clip, but doesn't kill anyone. Slap takes him down. Freeze, nice little tap away as he does fall back, but he's been lit heavily. Vali's able to dip inside of the drop room, though, and find a kill, but Makalele swinging out. Finds the Huandi to take down Nico. There's still trades going on, but it's even now. Down to another 2v2, and the T's hold control of the B bomb site, although the pressure is still on, and that smoke miss is going to be huge, as now they can walk right in. Not only this, too, but Snappy is wasting no time at all, pushing back in from the drop room itself. He's swung out wide. He's got this player isolated in the corner. They don't even hear him, apparently, as he just walks right out and takes down Slap. Now it's just Makalele, and he's stuck in this corner. He has picked up the rifle, but he's been hit by that flashbang, and he's no clue where they're moving in from. Tries to play it out with the Deagle, but it's not going to happen. Snappy shuts down another round, and it's going to be a 4th for Heroic.
Yeah, really nice round from Snappy once again with the individual performances there. And that's why I really like Snappy, because he's an in-game leader who can also be on the top of the scoreboard. And that's very rare in the meta that we see today. But also the fact that they are running straight up in their second pistol round, they're running the same as they did in the first one. That's just a sign of QWERTY. Their strats aren't heavy either. Like, their map pool is not very good, and their strat book is apparently not that heavy either. So that could be a big warning sign for the rounds to come in this game.
Well, I mean, that just goes right back to what we said at the pregame, and what the analysis desk was saying too, is that was one of the big things they were going to be struggling with this map, was how deep their actual strat book was going to be. A bit of a toss to the side there. However, it still can kind of serve him.
I'm not sure if that's
definitely not intentional. But
it's unintentional one-way smoke, mate. No worries. No, but we do have the Deagle round. Something that we've seen a lot in the recent months of CS is that teams really like to buy this Deagle. A year back, it was a Tech 9 nothing. Before that, you ran P250 nothing. But now the Deagle has come back into CS. And as a, of course, long-standing CS fan and player, the Deagle being back in competitive CS is something that really warms my heart.
always exciting to see a CT over peaking there and just getting absolutely destroyed to give someone a bit of an edge. However, we do see the rest of QWERTY. They're prepared to push onto the site, but Heroic right into this one. They've already got 3 sitting down here, so QWERTY are going to bite off a little bit. Quite a few guys actually fully committed over there towards A long, so could get a bit dicey. There you go. There's one slapdown coming in from Adder. He finds Madi sitting way up on top of the shed, so it'll take him down. Snappy has a good angle, though, to take out these guys if they do try to push all the way through alleyway. And he's going to get aggressive again to try to hold a position against them. QWERTY are slowly making progress up here. But as we can see, they're also slowly being whittled down. Nicely played by Snappy. He gets 2 quick kills from up on top of the barrels. It's Winton and Peta gone down. And finally, Makalele will get taken out at the end of it. It's another one for the guys on Heroic.
Yeah, and you nailed it pretty much, because with the whole, they're not moving very quickly, because it's only in their pistol round strat where they drop down and go onto through connector and towards A that they really do a quick play. But this again, they have Deagles. They should try to go for some explosive play and go for those duels, but instead they just end up having like an area that you can't really use for anything and just standing there waiting for the CTs to overpeak them, which they're not going to do because they're Heroic. They're a decent team. They know what they're doing. So yeah, I'm kind of wondering what they need to change here. QWERTY, they have brought up this one. Surely they need to get this one in the board on the board here. 4 Molotovs as well, so this is a full utility setup.
Now, we can see again, as you mentioned previously, QWERTY getting themselves another attempt to buy into this one and force their way through. They haven't made the full-on decision yet. They're still keeping the bomb back in the halls in case something goes horribly wrong here. They need to fall back quickly, but drop is an open book. However, it's not an open book outside. Heroic have taken the more passive route to defending this area. It's a very crucial area, and I like this approach too, because as long as you can keep the attention drawn to it, you can bait 1 or 2 players downstairs and force them into it. And that's a great aggressive play from Valley and the rest of the guys from Heroic. Isolates the guy to a corner, forces him out, and then he swings back over towards drop. Slap does eventually trade him, but Nico is sitting up on top of the stairs and is able to counter trade on the Slap too. So we're right back into another 4v2 situation in favor of Heroic. That's a nice shot from Renton, though. It does open up the side a little bit for these guys to try to push in, but they still have a lot of ground to make up. Everybody from Heroic is here. Makalele is going to try to push through, but it fights back really hard. Madi takes him down before he's able to retreat back through the smoke, and now it is just Venton alone. And the 1v3, Heroic slowly surrounding him. And in a moment here comes the boost play from Madi to close things out. 6-1 now for Heroic.
Yeah, really good Molotov usage by both teams here. So if you're a lesser skilled player than these guys, of course, pretty much all of the player base is. If you're watching this, then look at how they use the Molotovs to force players out of positions and then get the frags. Like they did there. 2 kills in this round were on the back of Molotovs. And when you want to be in that top level, you really got to use those Molotovs correctly. And I have to say, both of the teams did well there. Heroic, of course, even getting even more rounds now on the board. 6-1. They're looking pretty good, forcing QWERTY into another pistol round, so it's not looking good for the Swedes.
Yeah, and they're going right back over here to the upgraded pistols now on QWERTY's side, and right back into that same type of B setup too. A little bit more direct this time, as we can see. Everybody's stacking on the halls, but look at that from Valdi, just pre-spraying into Pita's position. Takes him down to 8 HP now, and he's going to be out of the action for most of this round. They all drop in. It's spotted early by the guys on Heroic, so there's going to be quick rotations moving out. Nico, though, catching when he does get tinked, and actually loses a teammate further back. Monty's in, though, and he's picked up 2 more. Slap and Venton both gone down. Adder and Pita, the last 2 alive. Remember, Pita, he was already hit earlier by the player that pushed aggressively up on Broken Wall. They've spotted Adder. That's a nice shot to trade, though. Takes down Monty to eliminate him, and a second one all of a sudden that takes down Nico. Now, Snappy's taking out Pita, so he's alone here on the steps. But if he can get these guys to play aggressively and take down one more, he's got a real shot at this one in the 1v2. For now, though, it looks like the guys on Heroic have exercised some restraint. They're going to fall back. They've got control of the bomb. There's no need to hunt down this kill. It's Adder that needs to move out to hunt them down.
Yeah, definitely. They're playing it perfectly Heroic. This is how you should play a 2v1 with the bomb down. Just hold it, hold the angles, make sure he can't try any funny business, and just wait for him to peek and then take him out. And that's exactly what they're doing. It's 78 HP. He could take a duel. Let's see here.
Send him reeling back. He's caught 2 players in the open now, but has not been able to execute either one of them. It's been close. However, there you go. Finally catches Freeze now peeking. Now they've adjusted position, but Adder reads it, and the big clutch rolls out from him. And all of a sudden, a second round has found its way onto the board for QWERTY.
Yeah, and we talked about Adder, or they talked about it on the desk in the preview there, and he's one of these players that you haven't really seen a lot of, but he's been around for a long time, and that was a perfect round from him. Look at that. Pita on 8 HP, of course, dying off, so he's basically not in the equation. So that was technically a 1v4 pulling off by Adder, so very well played by him. Bringing one back for QWERTY, but they're still behind with 4 rounds. They have full weapon setup now. It's going to be an interesting one.
Adder gets a huge 4K on that round to bring QWERTY back into the game, but unfortunately this can immediately be reset if Heroic just shuts them down yet again, as they have been on many of these rounds before. But it's a bit more spread out this time. QWERTY playing a bit more of a dynamic round here, so they may have something up their sleeve yet.
Nico on the back of the smoke, just spraying as we saw Valde the round before, but they're playing 2 on plateau right now. Nico slowly rotating, but the rest of the QWERTY team is going the other way around. This is an interesting way of holding connector as well. We have Freeze with the orb, so he can rotate quickly into middle, and that's perfect, but he actually does not hit the shot. Michael Ellie steps out, shots him down, Freeze is dead, and now the execute can begin.
No movement at all from Snappy, though, who still holds the long A position. More going to rotate back in, as we can see Madi falling back up onto the platform onto the site, but we're still going to have Snappy holding, waiting to see if he can catch the eventual 1 or 2 players that will push in, but his patience does not pay off. In fact, it hurts him deeply, as now he's lost himself along with an additional teammate. Pete is going to sneak right in there through the shed, takes down Valdi, and this round is basically all but over unless some incredible heroics comes out from Nico here. He's in a 1v4, he has no utility, he's smart about this one, he knows he doesn't have a chance, so he's going to fall back to save.
Yeah, Nico, there's not much you can do here. This is not the time, I should say, for heroics. And he will save his gun, save that economy for the next coming round. Of course, they are on the CT side, so weapons are a tad more expensive, so saving is going to be a way more important option than it usually is in this game on that CT side. He has the kit and the head armor as well. No flashbangs or anything to bring with him, but still, this is a good decision from him. There's no reason to try and go in and play hero when you don't really have any chance of winning that.
Yeah, all of a sudden now, QWERTY seem to be finding a bit of a way to get themselves back into the game. Heroic, the next big question for them is how much money they're actually going to be able to bring in the next round here. It seems like it may have brought them to the end of it. Obviously, Nico will still have his gun, but I'm not entirely sure if the rest of the guys are going to be able to invest too heavily, if at all.
No, they might run the WMP and then pistols for the rest. That might be an option. It worked out last time, so probably looking at that as probably what they want to do. And here we go. You do see the money on top of your screens here if you're in the venue. So around 2.6. So they're definitely not going to buy anything. They're going to buy down to 2K, which means that they're going to be able to invest into weapons next round. But this time around, there's not going to be a lot for Heroic.
And QWERTY once again will spread themselves out. That seems to be working for them to be able to find these initial picks and then work off of that one. They managed to pick that one player off the mid, and as I mentioned before, Snappy took the big risk on basically just not moving from that corner spot and praying that he didn't get spotted, and nobody pushes out towards long, and they just wrap around and get a free kill onto him as they weren't able to hold on the platform here. Nico, though, holds for a quick 2 kills, and this is crucial. That dropped the bomb, too, so they know which side of the map it's playing towards. Nico wants to hold on right. This is an aggressive play moving in. However, no, he runs out of ammo. He's got to switch over to the pistol, but he still somehow recovers against Makalele to grab that kill, and a round which Heroic had absolutely no business winning. Nico was almost single-handedly given back to them.
Yeah, now they just have to not push and just hold it back, and they're doing exactly that. Picks up even the orb for Nico, switches the AK over to Valde, so now they have weapons on that side of the fence. They can even, if they want to, they can start one player rotating and lurking from that B bomb site, but they're stacking all the players on the A bomb site. They know where the bomb is, they don't want to take any chances, and they're just stacking it right now. 50 seconds to go, and let's see Ada also shot down by Valde. Peter in a mission impossible right now.
Down to 16 HP with a 1v3. They know exactly where he's playing from here. You just got to go for it. He was trying to bait out shots. Steve was playing close corner. He even throws out the pistol too to swap it over. Peter, though, finds it another kill. He tries to find that player in the corner, but it's not going to work out. Finally, it's shut down. A heavy cost heroic at the end of the day, but considering the investment, very, very well worth it to take that round.
What a round from Nico. As I mentioned on the desk, one of these Danish talents that has been coming up, him and Valde, for a long time, switching from the lower tier teams, tricked one of the great talent farms in Denmark. And now coming onto this team and coming onto the big stage in a big round as well.
And so with that, Heroic get right back into the swing of things here now. QWERTY are going to be able to buy through this, but this also restores the full buy for Heroic too. They might have been lapsed a little bit because of that. Even with the save, they might have been missing like little bits of utility. Now they're right back into it here, and they got that up for free too. Let's not even forget that. That's a big investment that they managed to save a whole lot of cash on. Freeze sits aggressively up on top of the platform, waits for it. He had a chance a moment ago there to take a shot, but while he spotted the player, he did not decide to stick around. Just tossed in the nade and falls back. Does not want to lose that early on and give the guys on QWERTY an advantage, but they have been working off of these in the past couple of rounds. Madi makes the same decision back over there at the suicide steps, falls away as soon as he gets pressure, and he's just going to play this on the site. The flashbang even holds them off over there on the ramp, which is going to give him a couple of extra seconds to get to the back plat.
Here we go, Madi on the bomb side. Can he hold this one down all on his own? He gets the first one, slap goes down. He has backup in that matrix area, that long area, and he's still holding it down. Modi just removing them from the equation. Ada is going to be the last guy remaining, and he's in a flank position, but I think they are aware of something like this could happen, so this should be shut down eventually by Heroic.
Player in Shed is watching out for this now. However, he looks away at the wrong moment, so Valde goes down for free. Now it's just Adder trying to clutch out the 1v4 as it would be. Accounting for that other kill, but he hasn't checked that corner, and he looks away. Just the wrong timing. So Nico will take him down and give yet another round to the guys on Heroic, as they're ahead now 8-3.
Very well played round by Modi. You can see that his experience just shows. He's just holding a position, flashing out so he can get to a more defensive one, and then holding the most defensive position on that bomb side. And then his aim, of course, carries him a long way, but still very well played by Modi there. Good decision-making, nice aim, and good movement, and that's what you need in a top player.
QWERTY back onto the pistols, and some are literally not able to invest into anything at all. It's only Wenton and Adder that are even able to buy whatsoever here, so their money's been dropped very low, and Adder taking that early damage, down at 34 HP already, after being shot out there by Nico. More needs are going to ripple in there a little bit, now down at 14 HP. So he just got to hold now and hope that someone peeks out that he can take down. He peeked, but was not able to find anything from it. And Nico just gets the timing on the tap perfectly, finds Adder swinging out wide. Madi finds 2 more kills back over there by Drop. The bomb's already gone down and Drop, so for Makalele and Peta, there's not a whole lot of hope left here.
Now re-smoking it, Nico just playing it perfectly, just very patient. Taking down the frags when they come to him, not wanting to push anything, and that's how you should play that position. And he does that. 9-3 is going to be the score, and QWERTY are looking like they're in for a tough event already from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, especially on these very strat-heavy maps like this one, where you need to bring some extra flair to your T side, otherwise you're just gonna get read like a book time and time again, and that seemed to be what was happening here. They had a couple good rounds where they were doing a good job of sort of holding back, and the players from Heroic had, whether it was confidence or whatever have you, they moved out aggressively, and that was giving QWERTY like 1 or 2 man advantages at the beginning of the round that they would then capitalize on to get into the sites. But then, I mean, Heroic adjusted for that. They took a moment to figure things out, and ever since they started playing a little bit more passively with that, then they've been dominating once again now at a 9-3 as we go into the last couple rounds of the half here. And once again, QWERTY tried to play it out, but Heroic just has all the money in the world right now to smokestack things back over here on the platform to prevent that.
Yeah, definitely. Still snappy on the UMP45. Interesting choice from him. He really likes that gun. Got a ton of frags with it already and looking to add even more to that. Valde here playing the corner. He knows that there's something going on inside that drop room, and he is absolutely correct. So holding this angle is going to be very, very good when this C-push eventually comes, this execution comes onto the B-bomb side. But look at that, even rotating an extra player into connector from that CT side.
We can see Nico again holding in that position. The T smoke things out a little bit, so they give a bit of room, but responses are still rolling in, and it's all quiet on the battlefield for the most part here. QWERTY is yet to actually move beyond this drop room. Again, they've had no problems getting into this area, but as we can see, the CTs are very well aware of the situation that's going on. They're able to read that. They picked up 2 for Tuna, actually, as all of a sudden Slap is able to walk out from drop, and the communication on this doesn't really seem to go through too well on the Heroic side. Now, Freeze is in the site. He's been extremely quiet. He tries to peek out, but Wenton instantly headshots him as he's out in the open. Now it's just Snappy, and well, he's done work with this SMG in the past, asking for a 1v3 when they already know where he is. This might be a little bit too much to pull off.
Yeah, this has been a very sloppy haul from Heroic. This is not what we usually see from them. They get the 2 first kills, and then they kind of ease off for a bit, and that's the time where QWERTY just hits him with a quick double kill, and just gets in towards the side and get that map control. So yeah, this is not how Heroic should play that. They know that themselves, but surely, as you mentioned before, they're the team that will read the game throughout the map, so they'll do changes and make changes whenever they see fit. And look at that, Snappy just checking, no one's rotating in towards him, and he can get away scot-free with that UMP-45, his baby. Bring that into the next round. No, he drops it. Drops the baby.
Actually holding very close to the site. I was a little bit surprised nobody went in to check for him completely and dropped there. So he's able to walk right in, as you saw there towards the end of it. Picks up the AK, so gets the upgrade, saves a little bit of cash for himself there, but still, overall, like we mentioned before, a bit of a lapse in communication in the defense, mainly towards the dropper exit there, leading into the B site, is what ultimately killed them on that round, and now what is handed over to fourth to QWERTY. Yeah,
QWERTY's economy not strong yet, so they still want to they don't want to take chances when they can save 3 AKs coming into the next round. So of course they want to bring them and not hunt them. So I actually understand that, of course, since, well, technically, if you're in a 1v1 against the UMP-45, you should maybe take the duel to take that UMP-45 out. But when they're in this economic position, they should really save their weapons. And they did that, so well played by them. And by no way they're slouches at this game, despite them being behind 4-9. They are a great team, but Heroic is just a tad more organized. Played a bit more together, got a deeper map pool, deeper strat book. So let's see here. A couple of the last rounds here in the first half. Once again, we see this standard hold, and one player just holding outside from that tower side, making sure no CTs are lurking, and then they're going to execute on towards the B side from drop room and long.
I still think there's a chance for QWERTY, of course, if they can start off strong on the CT side, and as long as this doesn't go to like 11-4 entirely, if they pick up one of these final 2 rounds, then they don't have a chance yet. But as we walk in, again, there's that aggression that I was talking about, the fact that Heroic get overconfident, they push in, and QWERTY's able to get a 1 or 2 minute advantage before they even start their execute, which is the most important thing. Now, they're still keeping it quiet. They're still not like full confirmation yet, as we can see. However, they didn't put a player watching the flank this time, so Snappy's been able to walk around. Now they know for sure they're going to move in, and there's Freeze finally ringing true with the op. He does find Adder back over here behind the statue. He spotted a second. I'm not sure if he knows that this third player is pushed over towards the steps yet, which could prove a bit dangerous here, but they're going to smoke it off, basically prevent as much progress as possible. They need that now. Snappy moves in here, 19 seconds on the clock. It's killed the hit, essentially. Now Makalele has to try and bring this back along with Slap, but it's not going to work out. Heroic are going to pick up a 10th.
Yeah, definitely Snappy MVP so far for this game. He's been playing absolutely out of his mind frag-wise, and as you say, with the flanks, very important that he get into that position. And usually, as we saw earlier in the round, the T's have a player watching that flank, but when it's time to execute, that player will rotate onto the B side, and that's where Snappy just walks in straight after. I think the timing must have been impeccable from him getting into that position, so very well played by him, good knowledge and good movement as well. And we do see a pause, and there we go, okay. So pause will come in at 10-4, and it's going to be a Heroic pause.
Yeah, it'll be on the last round of the half. I'm assuming this will be technical nature, so we'll get that fixed pretty quickly, folks, and then jump back into the game. But, I mean, like we said, the big thing here is on the CT side, obviously, the teams are generally going to have an easier time. Now that it's going like 10-4, even a 10-5, I think this is going to be a little bit rough for QWERTY, but if they were able to bring that back to like a 9-6 half, CT side, it still holds a chance for them, like I was mentioning in the last round there. If they're able to start strong with the first round, the first 2 rounds, and then pick up the gun round, there is certainly a possibility for them to get back into the game, since obviously they're going to be more, it's going to be more communication-based and adaptive-based on what the guys from Heroic are going to be doing on their T side. And obviously, with Heroic being a team that's been out there for a lot longer, you know, they may be able to look into too and get the read as far as what their strat's going to do.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing the CT pistol round from QWERTY, if they have anything special up their sleeve. Because you can imagine them knowing that, okay, we don't have a lot to do at this event. We don't have too many strats, so we need something explosive, and we need something that will guarantee us more than just 1 round. So a very, very strategic pistol round could be something for them, where they try something that not a lot of teams are going to be prepared for, and they can surprise them that way. So that could be a point of aggression for QWERTY coming into this pistol round. But first, we have to get over this last one, this last buy round of the first half, and find out who ends on top.
The one worrying thing, however, about Heroic is the fact of how non-existent it seems like Freeze has been with the op presence at all. I mean, just looking at the scoreboard, he's dropped off the radar entirely. You have players 17, 16, like 15, 13 kills, and then he's down at like 3 frags currently. So we haven't really seen much of him at all in this entire half so far.
No, definitely. That is one point they need to improve if they want to beat the bigger teams in this competition. For example, a team like Flipside, they have to have a decent AWP, not just a decent AWP, a great AWP. And right now, Freeze is not yet in that great position. He's good, but look at that. Makalele coming in, Valde shutting it down. Freeze as well, finally getting on the scoreboard, getting a couple of kills here, and they're just, yeah, there's nothing they can do here, QWERTY. Freeze actually missing that one, so leaves that still to survive with a deagle in hand.
And looking for another one. He's going to be able to get that all of a sudden against Freeze. Whips out the pistol into the corner. He has his chance for a third kill, but the flashbang and the peek combining into it allows for Snappy to shut it down. So there you have it, guys. 11-4 will be the scoreline. Adder giving us a little bit of a show at the end of the half, but not enough to be able to clutch another 1v4 situation like he had done previously with a teammate there for the 2v4. But still, a dominant half from Heroic, and now it's put QWERTY into a very bad situation where if they lose this pistol, it's going to be very, very rough for them to be able to make any attempt at a comeback in the second half.
Yeah, definitely. Let's check this out. Also because we have a Heroic who are a team that practices a lot, have been with the same lineup for a long time, and they have this in-game leader in Snappy who's very, very intricate and likes these fast plays. So I'm really looking forward to see what they're going to bring to this T-pistol round, because I could imagine maybe a quick execute towards the A-bomb side coming out from him, because usually we see teams using that drop room, using that long on B when they're going to want to go for that pistol round. But with a team like Heroic that really knows what they're doing and have been practicing in their headquarters for a long time against great teams, I could imagine seeing something special.
I mean, just in general, you could expect like a mind game play too,
yeah.
with QWERTY being a less rehearsed roster. You could be going for something that will try to throw them off, you know, activate the pug mentality that is probably still there in certain respects among QWERTY, and basically just try to throw them off, get you an easy plant, give you an extra like 10 to 15 seconds to be able to get yourself into post-plant positions. Then from that point forward, on any pistol round, it's going to be very rough to be able to actually pull off that kind of a retake.
Well, let's see here. So 4 armors, 1 smoke, 2 flashbangs on Muddy. So this looks like the
Nothing
standard
special at all.
Yeah, the standard B push and the standard B smokes coming out from the Heroic side. The CTs, of course, knowing the strategy, rotating already.
And Nico's already found that first kill against Slap. Unfortunately, the flashbang, he's cornered. Adder takes a few shots, but he does respond to it. Now, though, he's trapped. He tries to swing around the corner. It's not going to be able to work out. Free, Smotty, Nico, all picking up kills. Peta still holds on, and he's got 2 headshots out of nowhere, it seems. Now it's him versus Nico, but Nico wastes no time. He tries to plant that, but he actually cancels it at the last second. A little bit worried that Peta may have pushed up. Now he's going to commit to it. It gives Peta that room to rotate back over a little bit here. And he's got a flashbang to toss out a little bit, and it's worked, too. Look at it. He's peeking from around the corner, but now he suspects something from the other direction, too. Peta, he's got enough bullets to be able to play this one out, but Nico, he's playing so passively. He's inched him into a corner. He's got him down to 8 HP. Peta, he's only got one more real chance to peek out into the open against his opponent here. He's just got to go right for this. He's looking for it, but it's not going to work out. And the guys from Heroic will close out the second half pistol.
Yeah, and with a pretty standard strat as well. That is usually the way that we see top teams run that pistol round. You want to go towards that B-bomb side, you want to split it a bit, but mostly focus on that long. Throw down the smoke, throw down the 2 flashbangs on the guy who's playing the support role. And it works. They get into to the bomb side. It gets into a 1v1 at the end, which is, of course, not what you want, but they had, if they played it perfectly, it wouldn't have been a problem. And now it's 12-4. The money's looking really tight on QWERTY. They're buying whatever they can to get this round in the bag. And look at that. 3 MAC-10s on Heroic, of course, all with head armor.
And they played slow as well. Not any decisive movement yet, just in case QWERTY wanted to try and get aggressive or stack one of the sites, and well, they have. As you can see over there towards the suicide steps, I believe they have 3 in that area. One more pushed a little bit further out towards A long. However, I think Heroic actually might have a bit of a read on this too. They've already smoked up the suicide steps, which, unless someone else pushes through that right now, they've got free reign to push into the mid connector there. They won't do so just yet. However, maybe doing that to try and see if they can inch players on QWERTY to rotate around a little bit here, as they are playing the time down, it seems.
I see Michaelele also buying a Zeus, which is something we don't see a lot in these pro games. So very
excited. Have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, maybe very excited to see
that. Did you notice the Harambe shirts, by the way, they're wearing?
Yeah, yeah. I was kind of like, is that it? Is that
yeah.
the real shirts?
It's an old meme now.
Yeah, old meme. We
old
need
man,
new memes in 2017. Of course, there are going to be loads of memes.
Well, it does look like with the time getting a bit lower here, Heroic do need to make their movement to the site sometime soon. So they'll start off with a bit of aggression, working its way over here towards the B side. Obviously, it's not their intended target. That smoke which they threw in suicide has long since gone away, but now as they move in here, Nico and Snappy have already cleared out 2. What they haven't checked for yet is the long A area, so this is going to be a bit of a surprise to them. Venton tries to move in, but only brings 1 player down to 21 HP. Venton does, however, pick up a kill here. It's Peta that unfortunately gets a quick end to his own life as he tries to swing out through that smoke. Now these last 2 will try to push their way out from A long and pull off some sort of a retake. The guys from Heroic are moving out of the site, so the site itself is somewhat open in that respect, but Snappy doesn't care. He's an absolute monster with this SMG once again, and he just shuts down the last 2 players with no problems at all.
Yeah, it's kind of like watching Magic Boy with the Krieg, and it's just like a weapon that he works really well on. So moving into yet another round here, Heroic looking very, very dominant so far. And it was as the desk explained, and as we continued on here on the caster desk, that, well, it's going to be a Heroic game, surely. But what can QWERTY do? And what can we kind of see from them? Because that's going to be kind of like a showing of what they're going to present to the rest of this tournament. And on Cobblestone so far, it has not been good for them.
we can see Freeze as well, again, just holding this position outside of the mid-connector along with Madi to punish any of that over-aggression from QWERTY that they would use to try and get intel. And that's a big part of the CT side on this map, is actually detecting which direction the hit is going to swing towards. If you play passive, it's going to be very hard, and you'll have to react on basically good timing and game sense alone to be able to try and rotate into these properly if you don't have a monster play on one of the sites to hold things off. But so much utility being used by Heroic here on the site. It's only netted them with 1 kill so far, but now Valde's also opened up another avenue, working himself in through drop, and they're just going to slowly and systematically try to shut this one down. Valde actually gets dinked, I believe, down to 4 HP there mid-air. So a little bit of a lucky swing out as they do try to isolate this last player on the A site, which they have done. And now it falls to Peta again, who also is looking for 1 or 2 kills if he can grab it, but not meant to be. Snappy shutting down that last kill as the guys from Heroic do swing through these last couple of eco rounds for QWERTY pretty quickly.
So here we go. Edging towards the ends of this game. Once again, Heroic looking dominant in pistol rounds, in buy rounds, and now we're going to see them. Oh, Freeze, look at that. Staying on the Mac 10, despite him knowing that QWERTY are going to be buying. That is a ballsy move. That is a ballsy move. But then again, he hasn't been hitting too many shots on the AWP, so...
When you consider the outprice, it's not only that too, but they're so far ahead. Even if things do go wrong, I mean, having the extra economy is certainly not going to hurt as they try to close out the game a little bit quicker. He's not actually going to lead the charge them. I mean, Snappy's still sitting on his SMG too, and they're setting players already up. They're already pretty much all the way up the ramp too. Wenton is holding over here by the alleyway to watch out for them, but they've got 2 more around the corner along this wall here trying to hold them off. It's Adder that's going to grab the first one. They've given them plenty of time actually to rotate in, so it's smart for Heroic now to call this off. They've realized, we gave them way too much time to rotate into this site. Last player just tried to push and Freeze. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a last-ditch attempt for some reason, and he basically just throws away his life. So now let's put them into a 3v4, and they're a man down against the guys from QWERTY, but they haven't fully committed to that rotate yet. QWERTY has assumed that they've done so, and they've kind of half-rotated back to B, so they're not exactly sure where this is going to go yet either.
Yeah, this is an intricate one, really. Looked like they wanted to go up from that ramp, throwing flashbangs and molotovs and smokes and everything up from that ramp up towards the A bomb site, but in the end it didn't work out, and here comes the push. 1 guy into stables now in that corner, that Snappy 2 guys coming up from the ramp. The bomb needs to go onto the bomb site with 35 seconds to go, but Peter's position is so key here. So key.
2 of those last 3 kills, they don't even suspect him. Slap chimes in with a 3rd, and there is a little bit of life left, it seems, in QWERTY, but now they have a lot more ground to make up and not a whole lot of time to do it here, as they're still just around 10 rounds behind their opponents, and 1 more will guarantee at the very least overtime for Heroic here. Also, with the previously mentioned 2 SMGs that were brought in the last round too, Heroic is still sitting on a crop ton of cash to be able to buy in for the next 2 to 3 rounds. And there's the op from Freeze.
Now we go and see Freeze in his natural habitat. Let's see what he can do with this one. He needs to improve from that CT side. That was not one of his best showings. And we all know from not only 1.6 but also CSGO that Freeze can be, when he's on his top game, a phenomenal AWPer. So we need to see that at this tournament as well, if Heroic wants any chance of bringing home the trophy and a big chunk of the $100,000 prize pool here.
We can see again, still fairly standard positions really from both teams here, as Heroic obviously leaning towards a much more A-centric style of play, specifically towards the long avenue here. There's 2 guys positioning forward from QWERTY's side. Makalele, though, he's got the flash assistance coming out from his teammate in the back, and it works out perfectly. Grabs 2. He's looking for the 3rd, but he's looking at the wrong spot. Swings out wild. He doesn't even have his gun out. He's going to give Freeze the free kill against Makalele, but it's after he's already lost 2 of his teammates. He's hoping for the 2nd player to move out, but Benton's long gone. He's fallen back to the platform. Yeah,
good choice by Wenton here. Also a smart player, holding that defensive position, while the rest of the team are holding 1 B side, 1 A side, and then 2 guys in connector, which is actually quite wise in my opinion, because you can easily, quickly rotate those 2 players to whatever bomb side you see anything on, and then still have that one guy on the opposite bomb side for the backup. So let's see here. It looks like Heroic has chosen to go towards A.
A slow sneak coming in now from the guys on Heroic as they move up towards the ramp. They're trying to avoid the eyes of players like Wenton, who have been playing up on this platform for quite a few rounds, but that jump is going to give away the spot. They know they're forward, but it's a bit of a last-minute warning, so Wenton's not able to adjust. He goes down. Madi finds the kill with some assistance from Valde, too, on to Peta back over there on the platform. Adder's going to take up his position in a second, but now they are fighting against potentially death if they do not clutch this one out. Nicely played from Adder. He gets a last-second spot into the player below him, too, and he's going to eliminate Valde, so now it's down on Madi. The good news is he should have a general idea as to where both these players are at, but that flashbang's going to send him reeling back. He gives them position out behind the APC, and they've basically got half this site back already. The bomb plant position is also going to be very crucial here, too. I think it's planted on his side of it, but now they've stuck it, and there's no peek from him. They do it, but they're both waiting for him, and Adder's going to shut down that last player from Heroic. A 6th round will roll in from QWERTY, and again, they continue to fight back against the fading day.
Yeah, and Ada has been really good so far for this QWERTY team. He's been one of the guys that has really stood out. Slap, on the other hand, the second part of that duo, Slap and Ada, who has been playing together in teams for some time now. He's not really been showing up, but then again, his role doesn't really require him to. But Ada playing really well. Look at that spray. Straight for the floor, straight onto the head of the opponent. And now it's 14-6. It's still doable here for QWERTY. They need to take 10 rounds in a row, but we've seen stranger things happen in CS.
And again, now another change-up coming in from the heroic side of things. So much utility being used early on from QWERTY, though. Look at this from Madi. If that had gotten a kill, that would have been incredible. But Slap does realize what's going on and makes a last-second adjustment to be able to take him down. Valde, though, has better luck. Adder on the backside, along with, again, Slap, are able to pick up these kills and stop this quick platform rush. Freeze takes down one more, and it's actually even at the end of the day into a 2v2. And you've got Valde playing aggressively here up towards the doorway. Doesn't realize that Wenton had already pushed through, so he's going to be able to take down Valde. Now it's a rush to be able to grab the plant here on the heroic side, as they need the extra cash. Their money's getting very low. He plants it, and he's also going to be cautious of the push from these guys, but he holds the back corner, and that does not work out at all. Makalele walks out and catches him for free while he's blind. There goes the 7th now for QWERTY.
Yeah, really good play from that dynamic duo, Ada and Slap on that B-bomb side, and good rotations coming in from the rest of the CT team to catch Freeze in that last 1v2, basically. Kind of a weird position he chose this because he knows there's an AWP still around there somewhere. Chooses the long angle, but he does go down eventually, and QWERTY gets another round on the board. So now it's not just 10 rounds anymore, now it's 9. We're slowly counting down and slowly cheering more and more for QWERTY to bring this one back and tie us up and potentially put us into an overtime, but that's far away.
The money's still very low for QWERTY, though, so if Aurora could pull off like an upset here, they could still force them into a round, which is going to be a lot easier. We can already see that too, and I think that Pete has picked up the shotgun on this round, and he's going to play it towards drop, but he's been hit by flashbang. Has no clue which way he's looking, so Madi's going to take him down. The quick Molotov reaction does come in from the upper, further back there towards the A site, though, but still, Adder's going to be challenged. Him and Slap once again, though, pulling off the impossible. They hold this down. Adder a little bit of trouble finding the shots on those players, so Valde's going to move in and pick up 2 more kills, and again, we've seen this 2v2 so many times, but we're going to see it once again, just like we had in the last round. And something interesting is going to happen here, too. Zana's going to get boosted up on top, gets aggressive, he finds the early spot into a player, but unfortunately gives away his position, too. Still, though, gets some more damage on the Makalele through the doorway, who are finally giving it up. He's brought one of them down to 24 HP, but Madi's also down very low. What they haven't realized, though, is that Valde got aggressive. He pushed up, but now the player by the rock has gone down. It's only Makalele at 24 HP left alive. Tries to go for that wall bang, does not hit it. Look like it was very close. There's the flick, though, all of a sudden, and now it's the 1v1. He's going to try to pull it out with the pistol. He needs to get closer to this bomb. He's got him so low. Somehow he's still alive, and the headshot from Makalele brings out the big clutch. They're fighting back, and they're still surviving, as another round from QWERTY is going to roll up onto the board.
Such a big round from the big star on QWERTY here. Makalele, of course, we all talked about him in his time in NIP and his time in pretty much every other team. He is so good, and especially with the AWP. Pulls out the pistol, nails it with 3 HP to go. He gets that headshot, incredibly crucial from him, and he's the one to keep a cold mind and a steady hand in a situation like that. And QWERTY now on 8 rounds. So this is going to be interesting. They're still just edging their way in, but now Heroic, they do have the buy that they need, full utility, AWP and Freeze, and Peter's still in that swag 7, that max 7, probably playing drop zone, so it's okay, but still, if he comes up against 2 AKs in a different scenario than that drop zone, then he's going to be in trouble.
So once more, Heroic just go. I mean, it's basically swinging back and forth between the A and B sites now at this point for Heroic. Either we saw the very fast attempts to get control of the platform, or move out on the B side from there, and we've seen this plenty of times too. Where they tried to basically go into the mid connector and long A and move up pretty quickly onto the sites. So we're gonna go back to that A strat now early on. Freeze still hanging back this time with the op. This player outside of the A door has been a bit of a pain for them, as he's kind of peaked late, and it's made them a bit of a mess. This time though, they're gonna manage Makalele early on, so he'll get knocked out. Adder's gonna swing in though, and this is another big player for these guys. Picks up that first kill, but again, it traded out very fast, and Valde basically just holds outside of that A door, takes down Lapita, who tried to push back into the smoke this time, and it falls to Slap now, as this is a much more cleaner round. This harks back to what we were seeing in the last half. Slap tries to make the best of a bad situation, but it's not going to pay off, and now, finally, the guys from Heroic get themselves up to match point.
Yeah, and really solid execute, and I really like the Molotov usage as well. We saw Makalele on the back of the bomb side with that AWP, and he could do so much damage from that position. They just molly him out, and he's trying to get away, but he's still dying when he's trying to get away to that AK, because they know he's there. So that was perfect from Heroic, a good execution from them, and that's kind of like the style that they bring to this tournament. They're good, solid executions with decent players, and of course we have sometimes, once and again, we see Nico or Valde go off with an insane push round, and even Snappy with a UMP 45 in this game. So Heroic looking really nice. Oh, look at this!
Snap, he's hiding in the smoke right now. He's lost a teammate, but I'm not sure if they realize Snap is here. They're looking around for something, and Freeze, that flick out of nowhere, shuts down Slap and the potential upset that could have come in here. There's only 2 left, but again, it's Snappy with the SMG that's going to roll right in here, switches over to the Glock to try to close out the game. That does not work out, but it all falls to Makalele now.
Yeah.
He's in a 1v4. There's no saving here. Everything's looking great for Heroic. And unless something goes wrong right here, there you have it. Valde shuts it down, and it'll be Heroic that take the first match here at DreamHack Leipzig. 16-8 is going to be the final scoreline, and they will move forward into the upper bracket final of the group.
Yeah, definitely. Great play, solid execution, solid holds on the CT. The Stars did what they were supposed to do, and we even saw the likes of Snappy, the in-game leader, doing a big deal of damage as well. The only negative thing we can say about this Heroic team so far is that Freeze hasn't really hit his top level. He's a very great player, and if he hits that top level, I see them as a serious contender for this tournament. If he doesn't, I think it's going to be incredibly hard.
It was a little bit slow, I think, on the first half, but he redeemed himself pretty nicely moving into the second half.
Yeah, definitely better.
I mean, just in that last round, right?
Yeah.
Like what we saw from him there. That was an incredible shot. It was just for some reason, whether it's just getting warmed up here at the event, getting used to the setups, or whatever have you. He was a little bit slow back on that CT side, but he easily made up for it with his progress on the T side there.
Yeah, definitely. He's a player to follow here for Heroic going on further into this tournament, which of course is going to be going on today, tomorrow, and the day after that, Sunday. So lots of CS to come and lots of exciting matches to be viewed.
I think the big story for QWERTY in that match, as we talk about some of their individual players, was Adder. We saw the big 1v4 clutch that he had, and just when it came to site plays too, on CT side, he had a huge impact on coming back to that site. Really good restraint with choosing when to fall back from like an A-long position or wherever he was playing out of across those rounds and falling back to the platform. Always able to trade out, 2 or 3 kills before finally getting traded out there. So really good effort by him, really playing on both sides, and on the T side too, we saw plenty of great stuff from him.
Yeah, definitely. Him and Slat did a good job, but now we're going to go to the stage where Parla has one of the winners ready for the interview.
Thank you very much, guys. That is indeed correct. I am here with Valda from Heroic. What are your initial thoughts after that matchup?
So we knew it could be a tough matchup because it's a bit tricky since they're a new team. We actually played them in practice before we came to this event, and it went pretty well. So definitely expected a win, and we got one.
Yeah, I mean, talking about that team, they are so newly formed. How hard is it to prepare for a team like that?
So basically, we can't really watch any demos, obviously. So it's basically just playing your own game and be confident in the plays you make, and then hopefully you'll win.
Overall, what are your expectations for this competition? You guys are kind of like on the rise still at the moment, yet to cement yourselves kind of like securely in that top flight of CSGO, and so maybe having a fantastic performance here that can push you towards that level. What are your expectations?
So we're definitely aiming for a final. Anything less would be disappointing, and obviously we're going to hopefully win the event.
All right, well, thank you so much, Valda, for your time. Congratulations on that first victory, and best of luck in the competition. For now, we will head back to the desk.
Yes, thank you very much, Paladin with Valda on the stage. Well done, Heroic. They are the winners of the opening match of DreamHack Open Leipzig 2017. We also have Lurpus here. Congratulations on joining us. Your travels weren't quite as tough as I think Paladin and I's yesterday, but nevertheless stressful.
Yeah, they always tend to be last minute, don't they?
Crazy. Good to have you with us. You watched that match. What did you make of it? Was it a solid enough performance from Heroic? Was it about what we thought?
Well, I think it's a game where you can't really judge Heroic based on it, because like Valde said, they couldn't really prepare for it. So it's more of how good they are in a vacuum almost. You can't really judge them based on the opponent, just how good they are. They look good enough. They won comfortably. Yeah. QWERTY, not really that promising. They didn't really have much going for them. I was surprised that they picked Cobble. It's a decent map for Heroic, and it just didn't seem like they were particularly well prepared for it.
Yeah, Cobble was a map where when Peter was coaching COG they liked, and he had like a few gimmicks that would basically be getting Tarek off of the platform and using a one-way smoke to grab some kills. And it seemed like in this game the gimmick they were going for was drop related. They were using the drop room a lot of pop flashes, they were using that deep smoke, and they even used it on the pistol round and jump through, which I thought was not a great idea, and it didn't work out too well for them either. But for me, it was pretty competitive in terms of frags and rounds and plants and stuff until about the 9th or 10th round of that first half. And then from there, I think on the 10th round was when Nico got that 3K, and that kind of turned the tide. And from there, I was like, okay, it's only a matter of time. And they just took their time and closed it out.
There was, a few highlights for QWERTY in there, one of which was what we've nicknamed him the Mad Atter now.
Yeah, well, there's a few English people in that room, so you guys got the joke.
We got the joke. I mean, he had that 4K, he had a couple of great deagle shots in there as well. I mean, he seemed to be playing pretty well. I think we've got the 4K right now. It was really well played.
Yeah, well, so there was that was shoulder peek there by Nico was a bit interesting, but this 2v1, I think what was happening was you saw this happen quite a bit with Heroic. They were not playing scared, but maybe they were trying to play it too fundamentally correct when they should have just gone out and killed him in a lot of occasions. When it's just one guy, they were off an eco, he doesn't even have head armor in this situation, you just need to take the duel. And it happened to them numerous times where they might have been playing too safe and they should have just been going for that fight.
Well, that's sort of the problem too, in a broader sense, to say that Virtus Pro has a lot of the time, where they play too seriously against some of the weaker opponents, and that ends up with them playing to their opponent's level as opposed to just devouring their opponents. I think that happens to a lot of teams sometimes, where when you know you're better than your opponent, you should just play like you're better. You shouldn't give them the respect that they're an equal to you, because then you wind up playing too safe like that, exactly like you said in that situation.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's tough, isn't it? First game of the day and first game of the year, you don't know quite how much practice they've had over the holiday period, or whether they've been eating too many mince pies instead of playing with the mice. But dusting the cobwebs off, that's a solid enough win, isn't it? Let's take a look at the statistics from the game and check in with exactly what the performances were. You highlighted you didn't feel like Nico had a particularly good game, but
I think I looked at the scoreboard wrong.
Yeah,
so
I think it might have been edited out because
I
it
should
was
have been squinting. Yeah,
it was at the bottom. But
We'll give you the closer seat to the TV next time around.
Thank you. I might need glasses, I'm not sure. But Volta and Nico, right, are the two who you need to be stars in this team. Like, Modi is a solid player. Frizz is like an AWPer who can do his role. He's not super flashy. And then Snappy, the in-game leader, who had a fantastic performance.
Yeah.
But what they're going to need is Volta and Nico to be those stars towards the top of the scoreboard like we're seeing here and have those solid plays. You know, Ada with a good performance, 25 kills, you know, he was getting it done. It's just, this is such a thing in a team like QWERTY where they haven't had a lot of time to practice, they're relatively new, they obviously haven't, they don't have a deep map pool, they don't have a lot of depth in their strategies and stuff. It is individual performances what they need, but they needed someone else on the team playing with him to make it a bit closer.
No, I mean, I said when we were watching that if Michael is your best player, you're not winning tournaments. You can get upset wins for sure. But over there, you have Adder playing really well. That's a situation where you can work with that. If you have someone else doing really well, then all of a sudden you have potential. But then Peta, Slep, and Wenton basically combined for the same amount of kills as Adder. So I mean, that's just not going to do it against a solid team.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you very much to all three. We are, of course, going to take a break right now, pay some bills as we need to do. But when we come back, we also have another big match flip side. Off to the major in a couple of weeks' time. There'll be an action next when you rejoin us at the DreamHack Open Leipzig.
DreamHack.